F1 said goodbye to a legend this past weekend with Sebastian Vettel retiring from the sport. A winner of 53 Grand Prix, he lies third on the list for most wins and stood on the podium 122 times, having scored more than 3,000 points. Undoubtedly one of F1's greats. From his stunning win with Monza and Toro Rosso to his final win in Singapore with Ferrari, he's provided F1 fans with many iconic moments. So he thought, what better way to pay tribute to his great career in the week after his final Grand Prix, then running through his 10 best moments as a Formula 1 driver, starting off with number 10, the USA 2007. Following Kvyat's massive crash in the Canadian Grand Prix, Sauber replaced him with Formula Renault 3.5 champion 19-year-old Seb Vettel. He was on the pace straight away and showed the world why he belonged in F1, qualifying 7th ahead of the likes of Fisichella, Coulthard, Schumacher and Barrichello. On race day, the rookie managed to steer clear of carnage on that one that saw Ralph Barrichello and Coulthard retire, and although he lost a couple of places avoiding the chaos, he put the commanding driver which saw him finish 8th and become F1's youngest point scorer at the time. While his teammate Nick Heidfeld suffered a hydraulics issue, Vettel got home an important point for his team, and more importantly, he showed the entire world what he was capable of. Number 9, Monza 2008. Following his move to Toro Rosso in 2008, it wasn't the best of starts for him. He retired in all of the opening 4 races and only had scored points 5 times by the time they reached Monza, the 14th race of the season. For Toro Rosso, based in Faenza, the Italian Grand Prix was their home race. The sister Red Bull team were hoping for a strong result and a good haul of points. What Sebastian Vettel did that weekend not only changed his career, but the team's history as well. It was a wet weekend in Monza, with Vettel right on the pace, finishing a stunning P2 in third practice, ahead of the likes of Raikkonen, Hamilton and Alonso. Qualifying also took place in the wet and Vettel reigned supreme in the rain. The young German topped both of the final session of qualifying, finishing a 10th clear of Heikki Kovalainen of McLaren in P2. Race day also saw heavy rain. A rolling start helped Vettel fend off attack from those behind. Once he got accustomed to the track, the German quickly consolidated his lead, and by the 8th lap he was more than 6 seconds ahead of his nearest rival. While various other drivers ran wide, lost grip or spun out, Vettel kept a cool and collected head and held on to his lead. By the time he crossed the checker flag, he finished 12.5 seconds ahead of Kovalainen in second. Not only did he give Toro Rosso their best F1 result and their first victory, he also became the youngest driver to win a race at that time. Number 8, Abu Dhabi 2012. By the time F1 got to Abu Dhabi in 2012, the championship battle was evenly poised, with Vettel in first position with a lead of 13 points over Alonso and the Ferrari. With 3 races to go, the title could have gone either way, and it was crucial at that point. Things didn't get off the greatest starts for Vettel in Abu Dhabi. Although he qualified a commendable third with Alonso 6th, Vettel was penalised by the FIA for failing to provide a litre of fuel sample analysis post-quali. He therefore dropped to the back of the grid after being disqualified, and Red Bull decided to start him from the pit lane, which was by no means the easiest starts given the nature of the track layout in Abu Dhabi. Things didn't get off to a great start when Vettel suffered early damage on his front wing and then hit the DRS sign during the safety car period after Daniel Ricciardo swayed in front of him a bit much, leaving Vettel to take evasive action. A pit stop replaced the damaged part, saw Vettel rejoin in P21, but after that there was no stopping him. He put an overtaking masterclass in a track that's hard to overtake, and put a stunning bold overtake on McLaren's Jenson Button to take third right towards the end. The podium post was not only a testament to the quality of driver Vettel was, but also made sure he didn't lose too many points to Fernando Alonso. Number 7, Brazil 2012. Heading into the season finale in Brazil in 2012, Vettel led the championship from Alonso by 13 points. It was all to play for in Sao Paulo. Both drivers were in contention to win, and it was going down to the very last race. Vettel qualified disappointing 4th by his plans, but given Alonso was only 8th, it wasn't that bad. Racing got underway under light rain, and it was worse start Vettel could have hoped for, especially given that the championship was on the line. After being pushed wide by his own teammate Mark Webber, Vettel lost 3 places and then was hit by Bruno Senna, spinning and foiling plumb last. He managed to carry on though, and a couple of retirements up front, he began his charge through the field. He was up to P15 by lap 5 and demonstrating an overtaking masterclass. When he came in for his first pit stop on lap 10, he was already P6, but due to impending rain, the team called him in not to take any risk. He rejoined in P18 and started to overtake again. Vettel was breezing past everyone on the track and got to P3 by lap 19. He came in for another stop on lap 20 and rejoined in P5. He then held on to his position for a while the rain got heavier. Vettel was called in for his third stop on lap 53, rejoining P10. After race leader Nico Hülkenberg and Lewis Hamilton collided, it promoted Alonso into the title position should things remain the same. Vettel came in for a 4th stop on lap 55, but his team weren't ready in, which caused a delayed pit stop, and he rejoined P12 out of the points, and with a handful of laps to go, Vettel went into overdrive and climbed up to P6 after Paul di Resta's crash. The race finished on the safety car, which means that Alonso couldn't make further positions, and by finishing sixth in one of the most eventful races in modern history, Vettel became the youngest triple world champion and wrote his name into the record books. Not only did that day show Vettel's tremendous skill and resilience, but his spirit not to give up even when the odds are firmly against him. Number 6, 9 in a row. The 2013 season saw Vettel engaged in another title fight with Alonso at the start, with both chasing wins, and when Mercedes also coming to the party, it looked like it could be a three-way fight. But Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg won 3 of the opening 10 races, and the championship was evenly points when racing got to Spa for round 11. Kimi Raikkonen's stunning performances with Lotus meant he had a shot as well. Hamilton took pole in Spa, but Vettel straight away got Hamilton up Eau Rouge and on the opening lap, and there was no looking back. Vettel finished a good 16 seconds ahead of Alonso in second and extended his lead. From Spa onwards, there was no driver that even came close to Vettel. He smashing all the records and not only won an incredible 9 races in a row, but also took home a 4th successive world title at the age of 26. Such was his dominance that Vettel wrapped up the season by round 16 of 19 at the Indian Grand Prix. Number 5, the Singapore 2013 Grand Prix. He came to this race on the back of 2 back-to-back wins in Belgium and Italy and high on confidence. While Mercedes top qualifying one with Hamilton, Vettel was comfortably ahead in the second one. For the final session, he took pole after his first lap. After being 6 tenths clear of Nico Rosberg in second place, he decided to keep Vettel in the pits, expecting his time to be good enough for pole. With just under 2 minutes to go, all top 10 went out for their final laps, except Seb, who stayed in his garage. Mercedes' Nico Rosberg was the first to challenge Vettel's time, and he went only 900ths off pole. Vettel's teammate Mark Webber, who was putting in the fastest first 2 seconds on his final lap, seemed to be taking pole away from the German, but Webber's poor final seconds saw him 3 tenths behind Vettel. With both Ferrari drivers struggling, Vettel took pole in Singapore and went on to convert it for a following day. An unprecedented and bold move as well from the team, but such was the dominance of Vettel during that period, he could top qualifying with just 1 run. Moving on then to number 4, Bahrain 2018. After finishing second in the championship battle against Hamilton in 2017, Vettel and Ferrari were eager to make up for their shortcomings, and he started 2018 in strong manner after winning the season opener in Melbourne, and he was looking for a second win in Bahrain. He qualified a comfortable P1, almost 2 tenths ahead of Kimi in second place. The German got off well, while Raikkonen lost the pace to Valtteri Bottas. Vettel maintained the lead. While there was all sorts of driving behind him, Vettel held on to the lead. And by lap 5, almost 2 seconds ahead of Bottas in second place. Vettel came in for his stop on lap 58 and rejoined in third place behind the 2 Mercedes cars who inherited the lead of the race. Vettel overtook Hamilton for the lead of the race on lap 25, breezing past the Brett. Vettel then held on to the lead for the rest of the race, but it was Bottas who put under pressure on Vettel in the final 2 laps, but Vettel fended off the Mercedes attack and made sure the soft compound tyre put on lap 18 made it all the way to the end, showing not only his pure race pace and skill, but also his brilliant tyre management skills. Number 3, Silverstone 2018. The 2018 battle saw Vettel and Hamilton exchange wins for almost the entirety of the opening half of the season, and by the time racing got to Silverstone, Vettel led the championship by 1 point. Hamilton took pole at his home race ahead of Vettel on Saturday during first part, but it was Vettel who made it count on Sunday as he got off to a stunning start, overtaking Hamilton right off line. Things got worse for the Brit as he collided with Vettel's teammate Raikkonen in the same lap as well, and the German breathed in lead. He was flying as he built a 6-second lead to Bottas by lap 11, but yellow flags were put on lap 21, and Bottas took the lead. Another safety car on 34 saw Vettel come in for a second stop, and while Mercedes kept both Hamilton and Bottas out on fresh tyres, Vettel was eating into Bottas' lead and passed the Finn by the end of lap 47. He then cruised the victory, which was even sweeter given he did at the home ground of his title rival. Number 2, Germany 2019. 2019 imposed a new challenge on Vettel. His longtime teammate and friend Raikkonen left Ferrari at the end of 2018 and was replaced by talented young driver Charles Leclerc. While Ferrari did have Vettel as the number 1 driver, Leclerc showcased he wasn't going to be a pushover and put in some stunning performances in the first few races. Even though Ferrari had a strong package, they were just not near Mercedes, and by the time racing got to Germany, Mercedes had won all of the opening 10 races, barring one which Max Verstappen won. It was a wet weekend in Hockenheim, and even though Vettel was strong during practice sessions. He started right from the back following an engine penalty. Racing got underway in wet conditions, and Vettel, master of the wet, made an incredible pace, 6 pace up on the opening lap as the rest of the grid struggled with grip. After Sergio Perez spun early, Vettel came in for an early pit stop under the safety car and rejoined in 18th. He was back at his best, overtaking the field from the back in wet conditions. As both Mercedes cars, and he proved due to driver errors, Vettel charged through the field. The wet conditions meant he came in for 4 stops, but still managed to catch the front back and finished a stunning second, having started right at the back of the grid in front of his home crowd. Vettel put in yet another overtaking masterclass from the back of the field, finishing just seconds behind Max Verstappen, who started on the front row. Moving on then to number 1, and that's Turkey 2020. 2020 was Vettel's toughest season with a Scuderia, and quite possibly his toughest season overall. Before the season started, Ferrari announced that he would be leaving the team, which only added to Vettel's woes. Ferrari had also gotten Leclerc to sign a new long-term contract, which undoubtedly validated his competence. They had a mediocre car that wasn't able to fight for points and made that season even worse. By the time they got to Turkey, Vettel was 14th in the championship with only 18 points. While his teammate was 5th with 85, it was quite clear that Vettel was struggling with the car and was low on confidence. In Istanbul, Vettel and Leclerc both failed to make it into the final Q3 session, and the German qualified 12th. It was yet another wet race though, and Vettel once again showed why he's one of the great all-time wet weather drivers. With Racing Point's Lance Stroll leading from pole, the rest of the grid had a tough time getting the tyres up to temperature and struggling with grip as well. There was an incident going into turn 1 which saw Daniel Ricciardo's Renault spin off along with Mercedes' Valtteri Bottas. Being the wily old veteran, Vettel worked his way through the carnage. He was up to P3 by the end of the first lap, despite driving a Ferrari that did not have the pace to save the front runners. He made sure he stayed in touch. While Vettel was enjoying a strong race in the wet conditions, a slow stop from Ferrari dropped him from 6th to 4th. He was then passed by his teammate Leclerc on lap 41 for 4th place. It looked like Vettel was going to finish 4th as he remained in that position until the final lap, but his teammate rated an error on the last lap heading into the final few corners, which let Perez pass, and Vettel himself had a double move on Leclerc, taking the final podium place. It was Vettel's first podium of the season. Most importantly, it reminded all of his critics that you can always count on Vettel in mixed conditions, and Jerry, he wasn't quite done there. Anyway guys, that's it for the video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, bring lots of comments down below, and follow on Exchange for daily F1 news, and subscribe to the channel. It's greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.